recorded live.
Welcome to Peace Meditations and Talk. Thank you for joining. I'm Kimberly. Tonight, we're going to be doing something different again. Charlie and his eternal girlfriend, Joan of Arc, are joining us. This will be a very interesting evening. Charlie's friends will tell you he sees the invisible, feels the intangible, and achieves the impossible. Charlie met Joanie a few years ago. That in itself is a whole story. But the adventure was just beginning. Together, they made their way to Katrina-ravaged New Orleans to bring comfort to those in need. Carnivalesque Films has made a documentary about this life-changing relationship. David, the director from Carnivalesque Films, was filming Camp Katrina when he met Charlie. Everyone who saw Camp Katrina wanted to know more about Charlie and Joanie. The interest was so great, it drove David and his partner Ashley to find this stranger they called on film named Charlie and to make a movie called Invisible Girlfriend. This film is insightful on many levels. It dives into not only the day-to-day life of a father who has an invisible virgin warrior girlfriend, but how Charlie interacts with his family. It also encompasses a journey, the journey of the eternal message. David was able to uncover this with his insightful eye and lens, a depiction of Louisiana that impressed those of us who live here. David caught some of the most beautiful shots to accent this beautiful story. The film is a must-see for anybody who understands high strangeness. Invisible Girlfriend will be circuiting the film festivals this year. As soon as they send me the info, I'll put a link on our forum as to when and where you can see the movie. So tonight, let's find out for ourselves. Who is Charlie? And why has this magnum cum laude found himself being part of something much bigger than himself? Some say Joanie is imaginary. Some say Charlie's crazy. But I think tonight you'll find out for yourself. Joan of Arc is a hard woman to ignore, and that's when she's happy. Now make yourself comfortable. Feel free to join in the chat room, and I'll open up the phone lines to callers and take your questions soon. The opinions expressed are solely those of the participants and not necessarily those of Peace Meditations and Talk. The series can be downloaded for free at www.talkshoe.com/TC/34618. David?
Yes.
Charlie? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. You had to unmute me first. Oh, by the way, not to interfere, but I'm not magna cum laude. I'm just cum laude. I missed by half a point. That's okay.
How's the view up there, Charlie?
Well, you know, what I did was I went through the catalog, you know, where you're picking out your major, and I found business management and marketing, and it was like, oh, this is a cakewalk. There's not even a foreign language. So, you know, a couple of finance and economics classes up there in the 300 levels gave me some trouble, but, you know, I managed to bring it all up and graduate with a 3.5. But nobody bothered to inform me that to be a business manager, you don't have to have a license. So you might wind up working, you know, for some guy's son who's a high school dropout, and he'll wind up being your manager instead of you.
You're dropping out on us, Charlie.
Dropping out? Is this better?
Okay, that's much better. Why don't y'all start out by telling me, Camp Katrina, what is this?
That would be David.
Camp Katrina is a film that my partner Ashley Sabian and I made just immediately after the storm, when Miss Pearl, the owner of Camp Katrina, the land on which Camp Katrina took place, called us and asked us to reunite with her. And we went there without the intention of making a film. And that's when she invited people to live in her backyard who were displaced, and Charlie showed up.
I did get to visit Camp Katrina for myself. What Pearl was doing down there was an absolutely beautiful thing. It was amazing to see how many people were just lined up in tents living in an orderly fashion. It was a thing of wonder and beauty.
When you were there, maybe.
Who was there?
Well, I went this year. I didn't get to see it during, right after Katrina.
You went, David. She went when it was the musicians' camp.
The afterwards.
That.
It was Camp Katrina Part 2.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's sort of. I met Charles several times. I don't know if he remembers the times we all met, though. Mostly he was running around the streets of New Orleans with a broom, and he was sweeping. And only years later, I found out that he really wasn't sweeping. He was communicating with other voices that I had no idea that he heard.
Okay. So did y'all get footage of him going around sweeping?
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of it, but it's just a matter of what story do we want to tell in the movie, and how much of that footage do we integrate. And it's easy. We could easily make part 2, but I just don't know we don't know where to begin.
Correct.
That's why we began with his invisible girlfriend, or Joanie.
Well, I saw some of the outtakes from Camp Katrina, and it looked like he wasn't really being received well right at first.
Yeah, well, maybe it just kind of rubs people the wrong way, perhaps. I don't know. Not that it hasn't been received well. It's been received quite well. It's been played on several TV stations, and and gotten different reviews. But I think a lot of people expect documentaries to convey something positive about a person always. They don't, the muddy middle, in other words.
Right.
And so we try to convey everything about a person instead of showing a one-dimensional portrait. If Charles fights with Joanie, we're going to show him fighting with Joanie. If Charles and Joanie are getting along, then that's what we're going to show.
It was beautiful. I did get to watch the movie Invisible Girlfriend, and I've got to say, you gave us quite an insight on Charlie's day-to-day life without being boring or unrealistic or made up. It was very, because his life is very interesting. It was probably pretty easy to do. But you took the parts that really, you could take just a few seconds and you really told the story.